And, but what we're waking out of is this program that is injected into us by our society, by our cultural upbringing, and forcing us to eat animal foods, of disconnectedness, of reductionism, commodification. Also, another aspect of this is basically a mentality of privilege and elitism. Because if you look carefully, every meal, the subtext of every meal, the actual teaching that's happening in every meal is that certain beings are superior. That's us. Other beings are inherently inferior. That's them. We, the superior ones, do whatever the heck we want to the inferior ones. Because we are better than them. We are superior. We're the ones that matter. God doesn't care about them. God cares more about us. Doesn't care about them. So we just kill them. Eat them, use them, destroy them. Whatever you want, it doesn't matter. Because they're just pigs, they're just cows, chickens. And so we wonder, sociologists say the biggest problem in our society is the rampant injustice. We have some people that are so rich, they don't know what to do with all their money. Other people can hardly get by, they're hungry. Every meal in our society is reinforcing might makes right, exploitation, oppression, domination, privilege, elitism, entitlement. We're entitled. This earth is mine, I'll do what the heck I want with it, because I own it. That is the message of every meal when there's meat being served, that we are superior and they're inferior. Also that we're essentially predatory. That our true nature, we just yearn, we're fed like we're little lions or something. Like when we go outside, we see a squirrel, we want to just rip it apart, tear it up. If you have a little kid and you put her into a crib, and you put a little bunny rabbit in there and an apple, and she starts ripping that little rabbit apart, you better take her to a psychiatrist very quickly. Got something wrong here. Now this is not right, but we're programmed into competition. We create a predatory economic system. This whole thing comes. So to realize that the inner mentality required to kill that many animals, of disconnectedness, of denial, of not understanding, of reductionism, commodification, and so forth. And then the final aspect, which I think is very important to understand, is that it's a mentality fundamentally of domination of the feminine. It's the female animals that are by far the worst treated, and there's a lot more female animals in this system than males. They're the ones that are kept in there and impregnated against their will, and the babies are stolen. They take the males out and kill them right away, but they keep the females, and they keep them, basically, I hate to say it, but they're raping them. They're impregnating them against their will, stealing their babies over and over again. Yeah, all the animals, pigs, cows, chickens, fishes, turkeys, whatever they are, they're stuck on rape racks, they're inseminated, and then their babies are stolen. And so the point is, not only is that causing terrible suffering to these poor animals, to the mothers who are calling for their babies, who are heartbroken over and over again, and to the babies who are completely devastated psychologically, emotionally, and every other way too. But what does it do to us? What does it do to us to live in a society where remember the Wizard of Oz that he says, don't look behind the curtain? What happens when we look behind the curtain and we see this massive industrialized killing and raping and killing machine? I mean, this domination of female animals, not just the female animals, but the female uteruses, mammary glands, reproductive organs, reproductive cycles. You couldn't have factory farming without the complete domination of female reproductive cycles and this continual stealing. So in order for us to create such a society, we have to dominate what I refer to in the World Peace Diet as Sophia, which is the inner feminine wisdom that naturally yearns to protect and care for life. We mothers know what this is, but it's in both men and women. It's this very healthy, beautiful energy and awareness within us that wants to create a home, care for the children, have a neighborhood, a community, an earth that's healthy. That is repressed by animal agriculture. We are by the millions. These poor dairy cows are just horribly treated, and then we eat the products. We actually make it part of our physiology. It actually becomes part of our bodies. So the domination of the feminine is a really big part of this. And I think I have to spend a few minutes now going just briefly into the history of this, because I know it all takes time, but just briefly to understand this, because very often when people hear these ideas, this part of us, they go, well, wait a minute now. I mean, which is the second here? Because we've been doing this a long time. It must be natural. It's kind of part of our human, how we are, who we are. Okay, so this domination of the feminine, all these things. What I realized in doing the research on this is that anthropologists understand that it was about 8,000 or 10,000 years ago that we human beings, for the very first time, started to own animals as property for food. What is that called? Begins with H. Herding. Yeah, domestication. Herding. It's like specifically we herd the animals, like we're herdsmen. You know what a herd? You know, we think of herds, a herdsman culture. You know, they're out there with their, what is it called, a crook? They have a crook. They kind of catch the sheep and they whatever. And we don't. Are we one of those? Are we a herdsman culture, a herding culture? No, no, no. We're a high-tech culture. We've got banks. We've got, you know, computers. Actually, folks, today we live in absolutely a herding culture. Our culture is organized today, just like it was 10,000 years ago or 8,000 years ago in the Middle East, around owning animals as property for food. It's completely organized around that. We don't see the animals anymore because we just, with high tech, we just imprison them in these sheds where they, you know, we don't see them until they, you know, magically emerge in the grocery stores or in the restaurants as flesh. But it's organized around confining and killing animals for food, and the whole system is organized around that. So what I've realized, I think more and more people are realizing this, is that a herding culture has a way of looking at the world. And so what happened 8,000 or 10,000 years ago in Iraq, when people started owning for the very first time wild sheep and then wild goats, and about 2,000 years later wild cows, was they started to reduce what were very respected. Animals were always highly respected. We respected them because they had power. They still do. Powers we can't even begin to understand. They're mute, so they're respected, and they're cohabitants of the earth with us. But when we started owning them as property, they were reduced. They began to be looked at as, when you look at somebody as mere property, they begin to become despised. They're just a thing that you own and you kill and you impregnate and you steal the babies. And so their status was reduced. And what happened, basically, very briefly, this was a huge revolution. This, I believe, was the last revolution our culture ever experienced. There have been no revolutions since then. When people talk about the scientific revolution, the industrial revolution, or whatever, communication, technological revolution, they're not revolutions. We can kill more animals faster than ever and eat even more animals. It's the same dang culture. It's the same thing. We're eating, it's organized around eating animals, and what that caused, essentially, was about 4 or 5 huge changes to happen in us and in our social organization. Number one, it caused the arising of a tiny, wealthy, super elite class who was wealthy because of one thing. They owned the wealth, and the wealth was capital. And the capital was livestock. Livestock were wealth. The word capital comes from which word in Latin? Anybody know? Yeah, capita, which means head. Capita means head. So the beginning of capitalism was basically men owning livestock, sheep, goats, and then later cows. That was the wealth. I mean, this is very obviously clear when you study this. That they were more wealth even than gold and silver. They were real wealth. And so the more livestock someone owned, the richer they were. So this wealthy elite class emerged that controlled all the institutions. They controlled religion, government, commerce, everything. And what also came up with that was they figured that if they wanted to get rich quick, they saw another guy who had a lot of capital, a lot of wealth, and they would attack. They would get all their guys together. And they would. So for the very first time on this planet, we had the arising of what? War. Our old friend. War. And it was started out as what? It's the same thing, it's the same reason it is today. It was a get-rich-quick scheme for the super rich. Whoever won the war got all this wealth. If you lost, it was a bad thing. You did not want to lose a war back then. I mean, really, it's terrible to read about. Not only because they invented war, the very first word for war that we know of on this planet is the ancient Sanskrit word gavya. It means literally the desire for more cows. So I want more cows, let's go to war. Then we win. If we win, we get all those cows down, become my cow. Now I've just doubled my wealth. But also we created another institution that we still have with us today, unfortunately, which is what?